Hey guys, I saw this great hunter deck on Hearthstone and thought it would be pretty awesome to use it to climb ladder. The link to the deck and the accompanying guide is down below in the description. Basically, in these videos, there's going to be two parts. I'm going to use this deck to climb from rank 11 all the way up to rank 5 in a really short amount of time. The deck is really simple but really effective with lots of great matchups in the new GvG meta. I think it's pretty good to use to climb ladder right now, so let's get to it.
Rexa versus Jaina.
So our first matchup here is against a mage deck. It is a mech mage deck, which you'll find out here in a second. So for mulligans, this is a pretty good starting hand. You're basically looking for your death rattles, for your undertakers. I could have mulled the two drops here, but I thought it was okay because it gave me a decent curve and options at the 2 spot depending on what I find out he's doing. So a lot of the time you're going to want to mull for that undertaker though, just to make your deck more effective. Yeah, so now we see that he's obviously playing mech mage, which is a pretty good matchup, I think. You just have to be careful not to allow them to build up mechs so they get the bonus cards off the 3/3 or just all the mech bonuses that accumulate over time. So if we can clear their stuff, we want to for sure here. Pretty awesome draw. Once again, we get to clear his mechs, so helps us out a lot. This deck is really fast, and you want to get your damage in when you can. Most of the time, here we know that they're probably not going to be able to put up defensive walls like ice block or ice barrier, things like we're definitely not expecting to see those here. So he plays a spider tank and just throw out some minions, hit him in the face. The other really important thing to do with this deck too is try to use your hero power when you can. This is generally, I guess, turn 4 onward when you can play a card in hero power at the same time. Most of the time you're not going to want to replace your 1, 2, or 3 drop with a hero power on your first 3 turns because you're just going to lose way too much tempo. So he's got a double spider tank going on here. Decides to kill our first spider, which is fine because we have all the explosive traps. Gonna start stacking some damage on his face again. Just do this to remove his mechs here. Like I said in the beginning, you don't want these mech decks to get a kind of critical mass of mechs and then end up getting too much tempo and running you over, because they can definitely create a board position from which you just can't even it out, or they can easily just kill your minions every turn without taking any damage. This game's going very well so far. Pretty standard for the hunter deck. The thing with this deck is it's pretty consistent. Like, we don't have really expensive cards, and like 99% of the deck we can drop on the first 2 turns of the game, which is always really nice. You don't get a lot of bad draws. Obviously, the curve varies, which is probably the biggest variance factor about this deck. I mean, curving with an Undertaker into Death Rattles is a lot different than, you know, past turn 1 into Spider into Animal Companion. Like, that curve is gonna produce a completely different game for you. But I do find, like, most of the time, it's pretty easy to get all your cheap minions out. And we got it down to 10 here already. Explosive trap and 2 guys on board. Have the beast and the kill command in hand, so this game's going to be over really quick. Which, I mean, it's pretty average for these games. The one thing that makes this deck great, too, to climb ladder is that games go quick because of how the deck's designed to play. So we have lethal here, so we're gonna finish him off here and just move on to the next game. He's very, very dead. So, pretty easy game here. I mean, he only managed to get us down to 20, so we're never really in the threat of having a race with this mech deck, which is definitely what we don't want to do.
You win.
80. One more win. Move up to rank 10.
Versus Gul'dan.
Your soul shall be mine.
So for the Warlock matchup here, there's a ton of different Warlock decks that people are running now in the new meta, so it's hard to say which one it is. Okay, starting hand here. Depending on what he's playing, you know, Zoo, Handlock, or some kind of mech demon combination deck. Always awesome to start out with a Leper Gnome.
Why do you call?
So when you see that, you just assume Zoo. You have to clear this no matter what, so just gonna use the Leper Gnome to get it out of the way now instead of trying to do something later. I think the Warlock matchup overall is pretty strong. Zoo can give you some trouble, I think, if they can establish board position before you, and you can't get enough damage on them before they stabilize and start hitting you back. Because once Zoo has the board, it's pretty easy for them to just clean up your creatures and then not take any more damage than just from their hero power, your hero power every turn. In case you're in a lot of trouble once that happens. So you want to take good trades if you can find them. So definitely confirmed here, he's playing Zoo.
To my side.
Nah, okay roll in the Animal Companion.
Job's done.
You can definitely go full aggro with this deck if you really want to. I think it's better to do that situationally than to just start running into stuff when you don't need to. Like, you can put yourself in a pretty awful position if you just go face 24/7. You want to go face when it's optimal to go face. So it kind of clears up his board a bit for us here, which is nice. So we have the Explosive Trap in hand. I mean, we're at the point now where Zoo only has 3 cards, so pretty soon they're going to start the hero power to get any more cards, which puts us in a really good spot. The Explosive Trap's going to be pretty strong here. Just play the Gnome, because I want to get the spare part. Also, he might accidentally attack it with the Ogre guy, because of how that card works. Definitely a good spot for us this game. He doesn't have like a crazy board position. So from this point onward, we're just kind of, you know, trying to dodge Doom Guards, things like that, where they can actually have a legitimate shot of racing us. It's just hard for Warlock to win this matchup in general because of their hero power. Like, their hero power works so horribly against ours, because it can stack up to just 4 damage a turn without me spending any cards, which is a lot. Like, that's very, very good for this deck. Oh, I mean, we don't want to give him Knife Juggler, so he can just roll and kill our Leper Gnome for free. Trying to get this Ogre guy to hit one of our guys here. Yeah, so once again, Warlock definitely one of the better matchups for Hunter overall. I mean, Hand Lock, Demon Lock, any kind of, you know, Warlock deck, they're generally going to be tapping, which is really, really, really good for us. Handlock's probably the best matchup. If you can, if you're playing a version with Hunter's Mark in it, which we're not here, it's still probably like I don't know, it feels like a 70-30 matchup for us most of the time, at least. You really want to try to save your kill commands in that matchup because they will get up a taunt wall eventually. Also, because of the taunt wall, you're gonna want to get in your Arcane Golems and Wolf Riders earlier than usual. And of course, when you're playing against Handlock, you definitely want to be careful about Molten Giants, so bringing them too low before you have enough damage to kill them in one turn. On this matchup here, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say. Like, if they don't establish that early board position, like we've had board position, I mean, besides, you know, before the explosive trap went off. And he's just, like, in a lot of trouble, because we can just stack way more damage than him. Like, he's relying damage through minions that don't have charge. So we have a lot of bursts. He life tapped a couple times. Just put him too low. So we have lethal in hand, unless he taunts up. Which I don't think he does. I can't remember here. And we'll just finish him off. Move to the next one. This is like pretty high ranks again, so... That's probably one of the best drops you can roll there, for sure. The Anoyotron. It doesn't matter. Oh, top deck the owl. So satisfying to do that. So annoying when that happens to you. This makes you really upset in general. And we're just gonna finish him off here. Move on to the next one. Pretty easy game. A lot close, a little bit closer than the last one. Not too bad. Ooh, another mage. I think this one's different. I'm pretty sure it's not a mech mage like the last one. There's like some amount of secrets and stuff going on. Pretty solid starter here. We could maul one of the mad scientists, but it's such a strong card to just get those free traps that I decide not to here. You can if you want to. I guess the other thing you'd look for there is, ideally, I guess you can maul the mad scientist into an animal companion. Be really nice. Or another one-drop death rattle for the Undertaker. Undertaker draws are so strong with this deck. It is very, very hard to deal with if they cannot remove that Undertaker almost right away. And we get the animal companion. Anyways, super nice. He does not coin Frostbolt at turn 1. So, really, really good for us. Very solid start to this game. Yeah, he's some kind of secret mage. Can't remember exactly. Let's see what we roll here. Well, I mean, pretty solid. Bring him down to 22 on turn 3, no problem. Have an okay hand, I already have one Arcane Golem. Kind of unfortunate we drew the explosive trap, so we can't get full value off our second Mad Scientist, as we only play the 2 traps, but it's not the end of the world. It's pretty easy, too, to get the draws you need with this deck, because a lot of stuff is good most of the time. There's not a lot of dead cards. So, I mean, sometimes you need stuff that's really specific, of course, like any deck, but since the only thing you really have in your deck is just stuff to pump out more damage, it's hard to not draw that. Well, I get the Huffer here. Some pretty decent RNG this game. I mean, he's down to 7 life on our 5th turn. He's just, I mean, super, super dead. Not a whole lot of sequences and draws. He's playing some kind of Molten Giant heal bot thing. I remember this game now. I misplay pretty hard later on, but we still end up winning, so. Haven't played against this kind of like freeze mage strategy in a long time. This deck is always in and out of the game, and it normally never lasts for all that long. Of course, when you're in the higher ranks, you can see all kinds of stuff. A lot of different decks. Still get to put him down to 1. I mean, that's why even when I screw up pretty hard later on here, it doesn't really matter, because we just had such a good start that can't burn us that bad. Well, no, that must be another Free Mage game I'm thinking of. He's just dead here. Yeah, pretty easy, pretty simple. Get the bonus star for the win streak. Nice. Hey, we get to play Shaman.
For Doomhammer.
Change it up from the mages a bit here. Hooray. This opening hand, not the greatest. Decide to keep the GvG here, just so we don't get totally screwed. Yeah, I mean, mulled 3 drops into 3 drops, so if we mulled away the GvG there, we could end up really screwed. So at least we have something to play on turn 2. And we have a really, really nice draw. Turn 1 now. Top deck definitely changed how this hand's going to play out. Now we have a really, really strong curve. GvG into Animal Companion is just super, super strong start. These starts are pretty typical though. Like throughout all these games, you will see this pretty often. Like it's not that inconsistent. Obviously, with the Undertaker, it's always going to make it better. Like it turns it from a really good start into like basically the ideal draw. Decide to keep the weapon charges here because I'm expecting to clear out totems at some point. In case he gets lucky, especially too, rolling taunt totems, which can be a problem. Shaman matchup definitely can be a little tricky. If they get a really good lightning storm off on you, the game can be really, really hard. That's for sure. Make the game way, way harder than it needs to be. But they do a lot of the time. They do need that lightning storm at some point. And because we have the death rattles, it's sometimes the lightning storm's also not good enough. So it's not too bad. The other thing too is if they have a lot of rock biters, lightning bolts early to just clear our stuff. We can only play 1 mini at a time, and we can be in some trouble as well. Not the case this game. I mean, we're already pretty ahead here on board. Have the kill command, a beast, and the arcane golem in hand, so we have a ton of burst. Just need to whittle them down with a few more minions. You know, some weapon hits, some hero power activations. Need the bow here, pretty decent draw. Decides to silence that, because, you know, why not? Clear it out. Now whenever you see Harvest Golem, you can never be 100% certain that they're not playing some kind of mech deck. So, I mean, you really, once again, against the mech decks, like, they're pretty much tempo decks, 100%. So he does get the lightning storm this game. It's kind of late, I mean, on turn 5. Ideally would have been a little bit earlier. Have a couple more minions on board. So I don't think it's good enough for him to win this game. I mean, kind of tricky here deciding what to do. You do just go with the Leopard Gnome. I don't care that much if he just trades for it. It still gets a 2 damage in, which is the important part. Definitely want to try to activate the hero power from here as much as you can, especially because Shaman does not have a lot of heal. I mean, they do have the new GvG totem that I guess heals full life at the end of turn. I haven't seen a lot of people playing that, and I'm not certain if it's a good card. Here, now, this is a situation where I 100% kill this without question, because he just played a defender, which, I mean, you generally used to give other things taunt, so it means that he's kind of desperate for a taunt here. So I don't want to let him have a defender in play and allow him to Sun Fury or defender that guy. So I just remove it immediately. That's a pretty easy decision. I mean, I play a lot of Hearthstone, so I mean, almost 100% that's what he's looking to do there. If that was his only turn 4 play, I mean, it'd be pretty rough. He can always roll totem anyways, so pretty sure he's definitely looking for a taunt there. So, like I said, because I expect that he's like gonna taunt stuff up, we're gonna get our damage in before he puts them up, since we have the 2 kill commands in hand anyways. He has to play like a heal bot or something here to get out of this, which I don't think he does, and it's just lethal. Really quick game. Pretty easy. You can just move on to the next one after this. Out here. Definitely seals his fate. The double kill command in hand. You even have the heroic power activation. Truth Beast, so you get to do the 10 damage. A little bit of BM. Always nice. We're climbing pretty fast now. Not too bad. And more mages. Lots and lots of mages today. This may be the game I was thinking of earlier against the Freeze Mage, where I misplayed pretty heavily at the end. It's kind of funny. Freeze Mage can definitely be tricky to play against. You really have to pay attention, know the cards, and know what activates the secrets, which is, I think, what burns me there. Anyways, really good opener. We have the coin, so we can coin into Death Rattle, into second Death Rattle, which is a really amazing start, followed up by Animal Companion or an Eagle or Bow to clear a minion. So, pretty amazing start for this game. Like I said, really consistent with getting good starts with this deck. Nope, this is the mech Mage. So that game is again later on. Keep thinking of that game because it's always funny. It's hard to remember the ones that you win, but the ones that you lose. Well, this one was a pretty quick game. Decides to concede after he sees the second guy, so he can just clear his mech. Pretty quick in session. Don't know if he needed to quite do that there. And the Warrior. Saw this deck a lot more a few days ago. It's definitely been falling off a bit. Warrior is... I don't know how I feel about this class all the time. Such an awkward class because it's so passive and reactive to everything that it... I don't know. It can be definitely fun to play. Just sit there and stack armor. There are some different versions of Warrior, but they all generally do the same thing right now. Like, there's nobody playing aggro Warrior. So I definitely don't expect that. Just expect a lot of armoring up. So our starter again, pretty decent here. Mad Scientist. Anything with an Undertaker into Death Rattle is just always so strong. Or Undertaker coin into 1-drop Death Rattle. Just creates so much pressure early, and that's why Undertaker is such a good card. Definitely changed the game when that card came out. Back in next round. I mean, he's got to use an execute here on my Undertaker 1-drop. Take damage on his Armor Smith. So, let me just roll up the Animal Companion. I mean, Leok here, it's okay. You'd much rather have a Huffer, even Misha 4/4 taunt. Would have been nice there. But it's still fine. I mean, typical Warrior, he's just gonna armor forever. Fortunately, like, it's really difficult for them to armor all the time and try to establish a board. So that's where we take advantage of this game. Like, he doesn't have a board presence, and he's just wasting his time armoring up. So we're going to be able to kill him eventually. That's one of the big weaknesses of Warrior. Like, you're pretty good at building a lot of defense, but not at the same time as dealing with minions early. Like, those are 3-mana cards, so he just... That's his entire turn. Gain 5 life, draw a card. When he really needs to deal stuff on the board. I mean, he's, again, forced to burn another execute on a 1 health minion there. That gives me a secret, so that's pretty rough for him. Since that means he probably doesn't have a whirlwind there, because I don't think that'd make a lot of sense if he had one. He can clear Leper Gnome as well, so I instantly play my Wolf Rider, especially when we have my Leok down. Easy to stack up some damage. Make use of that minion's ability right now. what he has to do here to get out of this is orchestrate some kind of like really tricky brawl play where he can also establish a minion or have his minion survive. I mean, outside of that, coming back in this game is going to be really, really hard for him. He's too far behind at this point. And his removal also isn't all that great at dealing with our stuff one for one because it's so cheap, and a lot of it has charge, or I mean, we get secrets off it, or all kinds of death rattles. So he's down to 12. He's already used both shield blocks there. So we know those aren't in the deck. The Maiden can add 5 armor, so there's that. The new one, the new GvG card. And you're pretty screwed here. We only have the Arcane Golem in hand, so it's tough to say. Like, probably not expecting to hit lethal here, but through hero power activations, we know he's already used the shield blocks, so he's probably only going to be able to get 2 armor at a time here, which is just it's not enough at this point. He's too low. Be okay if he could mitigate damage and kind of stall out the game, but he's not going to have the opportunity to do that at all, because we just drew lethal as well. Oh, no, it's not lethal. My bad. I was 2 mana off. That's probably what I thought here when I saw him, like, wait a minute. No, we only have 12. He's a 14. But it almost means like 1,000% he's dead next turn. I don't really want to play an Arcane Golem to try to squeeze in some extra damage here, because I could give him some extra mana and maybe lead to that crazy brawl play I was talking about. That's basically the only way he can get out of this at this point. He already played 1 Sludge Belcher as well, so I'm pretty sure this is just lethal next turn. I don't think he's able to get out of this. This deck just rolls along. Also feels really good too because it's quick to play and you just build up win streaks pretty easily. I was getting frustrated earlier, getting stuck in these long, drawn out games, and it gets really frustrating when you play a long game and then you lose and you just keep doing it over and over again. And it's just really slow to climb. So he plays a Baron Geddon and we chill here. Pretty easy. Easy game. Oh, sweet, I almost went to rank 8. Ooh. I get to play some Priest, some of those slow, grindy matchups I was talking about earlier that I was getting frustrated with. I was playing stuff like Druid, Priest, the slow Warrior deck, and it's just, I realized that this stuff is just super hard to climb with. I should just go with really fast, bursty decks, and there's nothing better to do that with than Hunter. Not the greatest opener here. We don't have the Undertaker, which is unfortunate. We also don't have a 2-power 1-drop, which kind of sucks. That's definitely the most awkward card that Priest can play into us on turn 1, because it just trades really well with our stuff, which is pretty unfortunate. But it can also trap them in that if they don't heal their face and they just try to draw cards, after a certain point we definitely don't care how many cards they have. So if they continue to do it, they can definitely trap themselves, which I see happen all the time against Priest. I think this matchup overall is pretty good. Very similar to the Warrior matchup. They just don't have a lot of time to kind of establish the board position they need, while at the same time keeping themselves out of lethal range from our charge creatures and kill commands and things like that. So they just end up getting in a lot of trouble. The thing that they have to do, I mean, in this game, already you can see, like, he's going to need an Akanai and a Circle of Healing combo to clear us out at some point. Kind of similar to the Warriors Brawl play. Like, they need that plus minion or something to stabilize after that. So, like, they do that and they play a Sludge Belcher or something, and we only manage to play 1 minion. Then they can come back into the game. That's a lot of the time what you need with these decks against hyper-aggressive decks like the Hunter deck we're running. And if you don't have that, like, your odds of winning are just, they're pretty low, because you have to get a sequence of draws. There's a bit of a misplay here. I probably should have traded that into the Northshire to play around Shadow Madness and make it a lot worse for him. I'm not used to Priest playing Shadow Madness. This is definitely a new thing, so it's something I kind of have to train myself to play around. And you can definitely play around it with this deck, especially seen there. Like, you definitely don't want them to get your spiders. The other one they like to take is Leper Gnome, but I don't think that matters nearly as much. Get the Hyena off the Web Spinner, not too bad. I'm just going face. I mean, he's at 16. It's already turn 4. Decent amount of burst in hand. You have the weapon, do some damage before that. Looking at a really good position here. He finally gets to clear out her board, but he's already at 18, and he only has a 1/5 in play. So not a strong board for position for him by any means. Decided to play the Secret here, just so I can get more hunter attacks in, or more attacks with my Eaglehorn bow in. So I almost always expect him to proc it here. And we have a decent amount of burst in hand. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to say. These games go by pretty quick. I hope you guys get a pretty good understanding of how to play the deck. Obviously, most of the time, we don't want to trade. There are some situations I mentioned in the past. So, like, against mech decks, I like to trade against certain minions, especially with they play the one that makes, I think it's the mech warper that makes the other mechs cost less. Like, that thing needs to die almost 100%. I take this trade here because it's just good. And I'm pretty sure I have the game, so I don't really want to allow him to Circle of Healing and then taunt up his Injured Blade Master there and maybe potentially run into some trouble. Like, I don't think I need that Wolf Rider to win the game. That's why I make that trade. It's a lot of like experience and preferences on when to trade and when not to trade with these hyper aggressive decks. You learn over time what kind of scenarios you like to create, so when you want to trade and what you want to avoid from your opponent, like what kind of situations you're not comfortable in, where you think the deck just can't win. Decided to kill this guy here again because I'm pretty confident that we have him here. Decided to start throwing some damage at him. He's already played. I missed an attack here. Or no, I didn't. I actually attacked with the Eaglehorn bow. So it's just such a rough position to get out of here from the priest standpoint. Like the other way you could have played it for sure is not traded for the Injured Blade Master, and I mean gambled that he didn't have a taunt, which he probably didn't. He probably didn't have like Defender or something to give a taunt, but we're such a dominant board position that killing it there, I think, just gives me better odds overall of winning. Like, I don't want to lose to that 2% or 1% chance that he has of playing something that just completely screws us over. So that'd just be really unfortunate. And just play our stuff out. Pretty simple. Unleash is not a bad draw. Yeah, like the way that I generally play these aggro decks is I try to avoid those 1% or 2% scenarios when I can, because I'd rather just win the game. Not attacking my Luthor there is a huge mistake. It's a Shadow Word Pain anyways. I don't think I would have done that. Like having his Cleric at 1 health doesn't really matter. You could have saved the Shadow Word Pain. He's pretty dead either way, but I don't think I would have done that. And he steals our guy, so we get more hounds. Oh, he's nice. And just end the game with a bit of burst. So the priest matchup, not too tricky. Again, they often need some kind of crazy play. I guess Shadow Madness sometimes can get them out of it, but often it's Akanai Circle of Healing or bust. So we climb up to rank 8 here, moving along at a nice pace. I get to play against another hunter. I don't think this one's a mirror match. I think he's playing a
Hunt you down.
slower hunter with Savannah Hymens and things like that. I could be wrong. Awful starting cards. Definitely want to get rid of those fast as we I mean, you draw the Undertaker. No problem. Had it anyways. In the mirror match for Hunter vs Hunter, like, Undertaker is so important. Most of the time, whoever gets to establish those Undertakers first gets to win the game. So, pretty important to start off with that. I mean, Spider, or no, he plays Mad Scientist. That's not too bad.
I'll show them all.
Decided to clear it. It's also important to be pretty efficient with hero power in this matchup. A lot of the time in Hunter Mirrors, it's whoever gets ahead first ends up winning, because you're just ahead on those hero power activations and damage. So you're gonna have lethal, you know, one turn before they do. Definitely checking there for explosive trap, or see what it is. It's freezing trap, which is better for us. So I get to replay my guy, give it more health. So again, you want to try to, you need to get ahead to win this matchup. Like, whoever ends up getting ahead ends up winning.
To my side.
Pretty decent roll for him there. So he gets to clear our, I guess the only, like, mediocre one there would have been Puffer. Yeah, we get the Misha. Pretty good. I guess this matchup too is pretty RNG heavy. Like, what do you roll on the animal companions? What's in your starting hand? Who gets Undertakers? Again, he's playing a little bit slower version though. As soon as I see the Oasis Snapjaw, I know that. So, I think I'm definitely favored in the slower version, because I'm almost always going to get ahead first, which allows me to maximize those hero power activations and take control of the game. Debating whether or not to Glaive Zuka or hero power. If I was going to Glaive Zuka, I should have done it before I played the minions, so that I get that one power right away on my bear and I can use it. So I mean, I can attack this turn. The one thing I'm scared of here is him playing the Houndmaster to taunt that guy up. Like, that guy's pretty nasty. He ever gets to do that. But no Houndmaster. So we use the Glaive Zuka this turn. Again, I'm still kind of scared of that. You know, maybe he can heal it too, and then if he gets to taunt up that Snapjaw, like, that makes the game really, really hard for us to win. I mean, he's at 14, we're at 30. It's knowing that he's the slower version of Hunter, it's so hard for him to get back into this game. I mean, I don't really care that the explosive trap doesn't kill anything. It's just 2 damage for free because we got it off the guy there. So we have 2 kill commands, 2 Wolf Riders. Slam these guys down before there is any Houndmaster taunt going on. Get this damage in, and yes, no outs at this point. Find something extremely weird, like a heal bot, which I get. Yeah, I can maybe see someone playing one of those in their slow hunter deck. It might be okay, but I mean, he's just dead. These matchups are often pretty lopsided based on RNG, and once you get behind, it's really hard to recover. They have to misplay a bit in order for you to win. We have the lethal here, no problem. And yeah, pretty good matchup playing against the slower hunter deck. Get ahead early and win. climbing pretty good pace here. Hey, look, more mages. This is definitely okay. Now I remember. This is the one that I screw up, and this guy's a freeze mage with ice blocks and ice barriers and things like that. This deck can be a little bit tricky to play against. It used to be super easy to play against when everyone just played 1 copy or 2 copies of Flare in their 100x, and made this deck basically gave them 0 chance to win. But Flare got nerfed, and this version's not playing it because I think Freeze Mage overall is just something you're not gonna see a lot of on the ladder, and you can beat it anyways. I mean, pretty decent start here. Would be nice if we drew a Death Rattle in the next few cards. Anything with an Undertaker is good. It gets Frostbolt anyway, so it doesn't matter if we draw the Death Rattle or not. Pretty much forced to coin an Animal Companion here. We don't want to just hero power right now. Yeah, we got a pretty good one. Huffer's probably a little bit better, but Misha's pretty good. Definitely don't want Leok here. Kind of hard to tell what mages are at the beginning most of the time. Mech mages will generally, they will put a minion out on turn 2. So, I guess we'll rule that out when we see the Frostbolt. Again, I mean, he could just be like spamming Secrets Mage. Mad Scientist doesn't tell us a whole lot. There's basically Freeze Mage, like a mid-range mage that plays a lot of secrets most of the time, and then there's the Mech Mage. So definitely 3 possible versions. Now he fireballs that. I mean, I probably think he's playing like Antonitis, kind of mid-rangey mage. Maybe some secrets. I have a pretty good start to this game. He hasn't been able to do a whole lot, and we've already burned a Frostbolt and a Fireball, which is pretty relevant against this deck, because in order to race you, they need to accumulate those cards to burst you out before you can burst them. Once we see the Acolyte at Pam, we know it's like a mid-rangey type deal. Decided to just remove it here so he doesn't get to draw a bunch of cards. Make it not too bad for us.
I'll show them. I'll show them all. Mind if I roll need? Mind if I roll need?
I guess the difference between Freeze Mage and like a mid-range mage now isn't all that great. It means like I guess Blizzard and Frost Nova, variant copies of those cards, but they're pretty similar decks. Play out the same way. You have to kind of play around the Ice Block and Ice Barrier too, which you'll get to see a bit later here. Pretty good on Leech the Hounds. Hard to get more value out of it because this guy's not going to be able to play a lot of minions this game. Already have the Leok out as well, so. I do decide to trade these out here and miss on 6 points of damage. I mean, it gives him no minions to work with, so I thought it was pretty worth it. Also play the bow. Again, it wasn't lethal either. Especially because I'm expecting ice blocks and ice barriers too, so putting him into 1, I mean, it's okay, but he has minions on board and things like that. There's an argument to be made to do it, for sure. Probably could have done it, probably would have worked out. I am at 26, so it'd be hard for him to accumulate enough stuff if I just sat there and hero powered for however many turns through his ice blocks.
Can't do that. Done.
But we can pop that here anyways, so. Definitely screw up. I did mean to attack with an Eagle Horn Bow, so that's the first misplay here, because I wanted to put him to 1. I forgot that he got the 1 power from the Leok, so that kind of screwed me over there. So he's at 5 instead. I don't think it ends up mattering for this game, but it's these kind of like little misplays that it's bad habits to develop, because sometimes it will end up mattering and you will end up costing you games. Here, at least I do the hero power. I do sequence this properly. So, get rid of the second ice block. Back when this deck played Flare, like, that's why you just remove their ice blocks and then kill them. Made this matchup, like, pretty awesome. Really fun to play for the Hunter. But you don't need it. It clears our stuff out here. I played the mech there just to get the part, see what it is. And here's the misplay here. So I already know he has no more ice blocks, right? I already know this. So what we shouldn't do is attack, because if it's an ice barrier, when he's attacked, it gets activated. So that was a really big misplay. That's the biggest misplay of this game. If I didn't do that, I could just sit there knowing there's no more ice blocks and hero power next turn and just win the game. So I definitely should not have attacked there. Especially because when you see people not conceding and stuff too, most of the time it's for a reason. Like 80–90% of the time it's going to be the ice barrier there. Kind of screw you over a bit. But I do end up winning this game anyways, despite the awful misplays. So, this is definitely how you don't play against Freeze Mage. Yeah, that secret there is like almost 100% of the time going to be Ice Barrier. So, I mean, some people like to get fancy and they try to bamboozle you. And they're like, oh, look at my Vaporize, now you didn't attack. But at this point, like, he needs healing. I guess Healbot does change things a little bit for that. Until you start seeing people actually do that and play it against you, I would play like they don't have it in their deck. So people are sort of trying to figure out what to do with it. So you get the Leper Gnome here, and then hero power for the win. I think he concedes before that actually happens. Yeah, I definitely could have played this one a bit better, but didn't matter. Win anyways. Easy game, easy life. Play against some warrior now.
Begin.
Pretty good opener. Should have mulled one of the loot orders. Probably should have mulled one of the loot orders. It's okay. I mean, can if you want to. You're just trying to get Animal Companion there to get a bit of a curve. But you do have the Undertaker, so it's not bad. Probably doesn't matter that much either way. It's definitely one thing you get to see when you're watching your gameplay again. Like little things you probably could have done that you would have liked to do. So helps you get better in that sense.
Bring out your dead.
This is just such a good start here. He needs the axe here, or he's gonna get a beating. It's gonna hurt.
Armor made to fit.
Plays the armor smith. Okay.
I'll show them.
We're gonna get rid of that. Just take away the opportunity for him to build up a bunch of armor. And we get it. The King Crush. The dream. Off of the web spinner. Oh, I was so excited when I saw that. King Crush is always super exciting to play. I think it's the most satisfying way to finish someone in Hearthstone. You just get the Jurassic Park T-Rex stomp going on. Draw the second guy here, the second Undertaker, so makes it pretty hard for him to win this game. Especially when all these got going right now. Oh, I'll just Spellbreaker here. It's not gonna get it done, my friend. I am sorry. I already mentioned this before, but I'll just say it again. We're playing against another warrior. Definitely in this situation, you need some kind of brawl play. Like, you can remove stuff one by one, but it's just not going to be efficient enough for you to end up winning this game. So you want to have a minion out and then brawl. Like, even if he plays Sludge Belcher and stuff like that now, like, that kind of stuff, it's not going to be able to stabilize him because we're just too far ahead on the board. Maybe Deathbite's okay here. It's not great. He takes damage from it. I do know that as soon as I got King Crush, I immediately wanted to win this game with King Crush, so I play the rest of this game with that in mind. Because I definitely want to finish him off with that, because it's pretty awesome, fun to do. Get some Jurassic Park going on in the game. Always exciting. Still super ahead here. Just making sure I use my hero power efficiently. Get as much of damage on that as I can. He can clear our board here. He's already at 15. We got giant dinosaur in hand. Make sure that he does die. Really bad situation for him here. He played Sludge Belcher here. Maybe it would get him back in this game. Certainly be pretty good for him. Like, not that bad.
Armor made to fit.
And he just has an armor smith.
Back to work.
Taskmaster is it. So you're trying to get a bunch of armor off his Deathbite, which is, I mean, it's okay, I guess. It's just probably not going to be enough. Don't know why he doesn't kill the mad scientist there. It's kind of awkward. I probably would have killed the scientist. Three more turns till the dinosaur.
Fools!
Definitely need to clear those armor smiths so he doesn't just get free armor for nothing, no mana cost. He plays whirlwinds, deathbites, things like that. Don't want to be a free armor. Definitely not optimal. Decided to save the charge on my axe because I do have the secret there. Want him to proc it.
I can take the hit.
I could have just attacked and played Zuka. So you definitely notice this game, like, he does armor. He gets a lot of armor, but we do end up winning anyways because if he doesn't establish enough of a board or taunts, like, he can armor all he wants. It's just the same amount of damage is just going to keep coming at him. So he doesn't do anything to stabilize. He just focuses on armoring. But now that he didn't proc it, he didn't attack anything, so I know he's playing around it, so I might as well just use this here. Especially because we have the second weapon in hand. I want to get some damage off it. Again, try to play the Glaive Zuka before you play minions that can't attack. If you can, it's going to help you out a lot. Setting up for the dinosaur win here. Just throw Arcane Golem and everything at him next turn, and then hope we have enough to dino him off. There's that Sludge Belcher. It's a little late. If you would have played that earlier, he might have been able to stabilize and get back in this game. I mean, we have the owl anyway now, so it's not going to do anything. Just have so much damage here. Then we want to play our King Golem now so we can dinosaur him next turn. It's really important if you have King Crush to finish him with King Crush for extra style points. Especially when you get it off a web spinner. So we have him in Xaxes dino range here. Even if he armors up, we have the weapon still. And we have the secret to proc, so he is dead here. There will be a part 2 to this video where I climb up the rest of the ranks that I will be posting hopefully later on today. Still gotta render this one and upload it. But I will be doing that. And here we go, the dinosaur finish. Definitely a good part to break these videos into.
I hunt alone.
Pretty exciting finish.
I will.
Gotta give that threat in there, because here comes the dinosaur. Shaking the screen. In style. Kaboom. So, hope you guys like part 1, and stick around for part 2. Keep learning how to play this deck and see how easy it is to climb with it.